very good to be back. Seems like I've been gone for a long time. This morning I'm going to talk about creativity, and the title of the talk is, Am I a Creative Person? It's an interesting subject most of us don't stop to think about. Am I a creative person? So we're going to learn a lot this morning about what it means to be creative and where creative energy comes from. I'm going to be talking about the three most essential energies that make a person or a group or even a nation creative. We're going to learn how these energies can work for the good or can be destructive and how that happens. And there will be an emphasis on the need for the purification of our threefold mechanism, the physical mechanism, emotional and mental mechanisms, to enable the creative process. So that's just kind of it in a nutshell, what I'm going to be talking about this morning. What's surprising is, to me, when I was studying the teaching and preparing for this morning's talk, to think that creative energy can be used destructively. See, this is basically a new idea for us. Normally, when we consider creativity, we're creating something beautiful and wonderful and something that will sustain, our family or our nation for the future. But as typically, keeping things in the balance, you have good and you have bad, you have high and you have low. So if we take that concept, the macrocosm and the microcosm, then we can understand that creative energy can be used for the good or in a destructive way. Creativity is a result of the circulation of energies. It's important to think about. It is the result of the circulation of energies when they pass through our etheric, emotional, and mental bodies. So keep that in mind as I'm talking about these three essential energies, that it's important that these three energies circulate through all three, our physical, emotional, mental bodies, and the etheric body, of course. So these energies purify these vehicles and regenerate us and recreate us. It is the creative person that knows how to use them for the good of all, for the common good. Now, if you observe what is happening in humanity, you're going to see how these energies are creating and destroying at the same time. If your physical, emotional, and mental bodies are beautiful, you are uplifted like a surfboard on the waves of human emotions and activities and thoughts. It means that you are always balanced, that you have equilibrium, and that you are creative. So we have two kinds of people, those who are creating and those who are destroying. And these types of people, these two kinds of people, are increasing in humanity, those who are creating and those who are destroying. It is inevitable that we're going to see a final clash. It's just inevitable. So creativity is a fusion of these energies to make the plan actualize and the purpose to be fulfilled. God's plan, God's purpose. So what are these energies? Light and love and willpower. Now light energy comes to us through our throat center, from our higher self. And this might surprise you It also, this light energy also comes from Venus, from the Pleiades, from Sirius, the greater zodiac, or even other constellations. Light, now here's a definition, a real scientific definition of light. The light is the result of the radioactivity of the fire within you, the fire within each of us. It's the result of the radioactivity of the fire that is within you. Each entity radiates its light, its fire, according to the degree of the release of the fire from within yourself. Now Venus, I said Venus is one of the great centers of light in the solar system. Another great center is the Pleiades, which provides light for all 7 sacred planets. There is another even greater light center, which is called the Sun, Sirius. This sun also provides light. So if we are going to be creative, we must have light. We accumulate these lights. We accumulate these lights and register them from wherever we can according to our level of consciousness and according to our beingness. We absorb these lights, we assimilate them, and then we circulate them throughout our mechanism. What happens is, as we circulate these energies, particularly in this case, I'm talking about light, it brings, this is very curious, it brings a regeneration. It brings unfoldment. It brings development of all of our centers, especially our etheric center. So, if you're feeling sluggish, if you're feeling like you have a lack of energy or that you're not feeling well, you can engage in a meditation that will put you in contact with these great centers of light, like Venus, like the Pleiades, like Sirius. And then in your meditation, just use your creative imagination to bring this light into your entire mechanism and see what happens. Give it a little time, but you're going to experience a very beautiful effect. Light works with our etheric body, with the centers of light in our astral bodies, such as the throat center, and also the knowledge petals of the mental body. Your level determines your level of consciousness, determines your ability to receive, assimilate, and express light. This is why some people have more light than others. It depends on our level of consciousness, the purity of our beingness, which then determines how much we can assimilate and express this light. This is what determines, like a great one, a poet, a master artist, a musician, even a speaker. It depends on the light that they were able to assimilate and then express. If you are at the kindergarten level, you're not going to be able to receive much light. Not only is our development necessary, but also our purification. And this is very curious. Purification, because there is a danger in invoking light. When light comes in as energy, listen to this, when light comes as energy, it destroys things which belong to darkness. When light comes as energy, it destroys things which belong to darkness. darkness within your system. And this destruction sometimes causes psychological upheavals. So, for example, people who just begin to meditate, they want to spend, some people like to spend hours just sitting and meditating or praying for hours. And they think that this is such a gift. What they don't know behind it is the science that we're bringing in more light, bringing in more spirit. And if our bodies are not prepared to handle this much light, then there's going to be a disturbance within our physical body, our emotional body, our mental body, and it's going to act in a destructive way, and in this way it can cause psychological upheavals. It's like a story that I've told in the far past many moons ago. I had attended a conference. This was back in Florida days, and we had this conference in the middle of the state of Florida. And the woman that I roomed with at the time was one of those individuals that was meditating the whole time, all day long. What happened is that the disturbance took place, the danger was evident, and she went into a catatonic state. She brought in too much energy with her. So we brought her back, took her home, flew home, took her to her family. Her family was very angry with me, and I said, but, you know, it was your sister that was engaged in too much meditation. So, you know, people want somebody to blame, so, you know, I got to be blamed. What happened, though, is that the sister immediately went in to her meditation room and began meditating again, went back into a catatonic state, and they had to take her to what we called in Florida in our hospital 5 North, you know, which is where they put people with mental health problems. So that's an extreme, but I have many stories like that. So when I say that you don't want to bring in too much light into your system until you are spiritually ready, and the teaching says that there's a danger in invoking the light, now we understand. You know, I understand it. I've seen the effect of it. So if you're a beginning meditator, just meditate for 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes for the first year, because you're bringing in a light that is attacking the darkness that is inside us. And we want the light to slowly, you know, diminish that darkness, but not in a huge way or a sudden way. Some people go through trauma not because they are ignorant, not because they have no light, but because they have an abundant light which they cannot yet handle. It is important that our vehicles have a good measure of purification. If light comes and hits your emotional system, for example, and is not purified, it creates a neuroses. This is the science of it. It creates a neuroses, a mental disorder. And that is what is happening to so many people today. Millions of people are invoking light. They say, let light descend on earth in various ways. This is good, but people are going crazy. So we need light. We need more light, but we are not going to stop the inflow of light. We are going to purify ourselves so that we can use the light, creative light. Unless our mechanism is ready, unless our mechanism is purified, the energies we are receiving will give different results than we are expecting. What you are doing is you are hooking your electrical system or machine into a plug that is loaded with energy. See, this is the comparison, what's happening here. So to assimilate these energies, we must prepare ourselves, to prepare our body, prepare our emotions, our mind. So this is not fantasy. This is why we can see so many artistic expressions that are leading our nation and humanity into destruction, such as films and certain TV programs and so forth. Our creative forces are coming into us and manifesting negatively. Us being not necessarily, us as an individual, but us as a humanity, us as a nation, us as a body of people. So that is light. Then there is the love energy. Love energy originates from our heart, from our higher self. It comes from Christ. It comes from the planetary hierarchy. It comes from those centers that are hooked into the creative currents of the universe. When this love energy comes within our system, it activates our emotional body. And if our emotional body is loaded with hatred and anger and fear and jealousy and so forth, we're going to have a lot of trouble in our system. See how that works? Not only our health suffers, but also our relationships, because love is related to human relationships, building a family, building groups, building a society, and establishing within them right human relations. Right human relations is an expression of the manifestation of love energy. Creativity happens when you have a great vision within you. So this is an important point to really think about. Creativity happens when you have a great vision within you. You are sensing that that vision is part of the great hierarchical plan, and you are going to actualize that vision through your light and love. But preparation is necessary so that when you are receiving energies, you do not pollute and distort the directions, the purpose, the plan that exists in each atom of the energy flow that is reaching you. This is why somebody can start out, and that somebody, again, can be a family, it can be a nation, it can be a great body of people. They start out with this beautiful plan. Absolute, pure, creative, futuristic plan for the common good, and then something happens. A year later, 2 or 3 years later, it becomes destructive. Why is that? Because there was no preparation. Preparation is necessary, so when we are receiving these energies of light and love, we don't pollute and distort the direction. In a very simplistic way, think about a marriage. We start out with that partner, we're in pure, absolute, ecstatic love, right? And we're going to get married, and we're going to have this, future where we live forever together in happiness and joy and bliss. And then 5 years later, we're divorced. What happens? See how simple that is? What's not simple is the preparation process. So you have a vision, prepare yourself so that when you receive these energies, we don't distort that vision. We don't distort the purpose of the vision. A great teacher says that in the future, great creative people are going to incarnate when the fourth ray starts to come to our planet. He says that today's masterpieces will seem like little baby toys in comparison to the creative results of those people who scientifically, psychologically, esoterically prepared and understood the meaning and process of creativity. So that is light and love. And then we have the third energy, which is will energy. Every creative person who dedicates their life to creative activities must develop these three energies, light and love and will, so that they balance their creativity with all three. Light and love and will. Take some thought. How do we balance, ourselves with these three energies? So where does this will energy come from? It comes first from the head center, when the head center is stimulated and starts unfolding. It comes from the will center in the planet, in the solar system. What happens is that the will energy awakens your consciousness, and you begin to feel that you have direction, that you have a destination. When your head center is stimulated, there is actually a gland in your head that becomes stimulated, and this is not fantasy. Again, you have an experience. You have a psychological experience, you have a physical experience, you have an emotional experience when this head center is activated and begins to unfold. That is the result of your purification. And when the will energy then begins to merge and fuse with light and love. So all three are working together. So it's going to require some adjustment when your head center is stimulated and starts unfolding. It requires adjustment, physical adjustment, then emotional adjustment, then mental adjustment. Once these adjustments are made, then the will energy comes into balance with the light and love. It may take a few weeks or a few years. It is then you become dedicated in reaching your destination. So what is, to understand more how this works, read stories, read biographies, read autobiographies of people that have experienced and been awakened by light and love and will energy. That's how you know it really works together and what they experienced. Now, sometimes people are lost. When we discover people are lost, we need to search for them and find them. Just like people searched for us and found us, meaning the teaching. We were looking, and those that were expressing the teaching were there to give to us, to find. But we can also search for them. We must have the courage and daring to find them. When we find them, we must be careful that they are not contaminated, that they don't have a neurosis or a mental disorder. They are lost because there is not a single drop of will energy in their system. They don't have a plan. They don't have a goal. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have purpose in your life, you're going to be lost. So you can have lots of love and lots of light, but at the same time use this light and love for your own destruction. It's hard to think this way, but we can see the evidence of the truth. So until we find our purpose, we cannot find our direction. There's a wonderful book that Torkim Saradarian wrote called The Purpose of Life. It's an amazing book. It really makes you think. But at the end of that book, you recognize how important it is to have a purpose in your life. You can't find a direction without purpose. When the will energy comes and galvanizes your centers, suddenly your light and love start functioning with the power, goal-fittingly and purposefully. You no longer exploit those energies to be rich, to be famous, to control people, to manipulate them through your own creativity. See, and this is what's happening in the world today. How this energy is being misused. So there are two ways to use these three energies of light and love and will. One way is that we accumulate these energies within our system, and we use them for all of our selfish goals and plans and interests, and we create more divisions and more destruction because of our creativity. When our system is not clean and purified, these energies turn into a poison. So let's say you have a stagnant pool and you bring the cleanest water and you put it in this stagnant pool. What difference does it make? This stagnant pool only becomes larger. That happens exactly in the creative process. So I said there are two ways to use these energies. The second way is to use these energies when you accumulate them within your etheric system, your astral system. You're going to accumulate love energy into your etheric system, in your astral system, and in your mental system. Eventually, you're going to collect all three, light and love and will. These energies go into the higher mind, they organize, integrate, and become inclusive, synthesize your mind, and enabling them to stand in charge of the willpower. I know that's a lot of words. Don't worry about it. It's okay. If we invoke willpower before we are ready mentally, we go berserk. Nothing else. We become totally frustrated with our life. Actually, what happens is that when the energy of cosmic willpower prematurely hits us, we really start standing against our own light, against our own love, and against our creativity. So I can take, we can take all these ideas, put them back into the process of engaging in meditation. It's why it's so important to practice a scientific meditation, slowly, 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 over the years, giving time to accumulate the light and the love and the willpower to keep us in a state of equilibrium and in balance. Otherwise, we're going to work against what we are accumulating. When these three energies, light, love, and will, are equally received, assimilated, and manifested in our system, we will see that something fantastic is happening. We are hooking ourselves to these higher and higher sources in cosmos. And with these energies, transmutation, transformation, and transfiguration are going into our whole system. This is why we say that service and creativity are the means to transfiguration. Our physical nature is purified through light, our emotional nature is purified through love, and our mental mechanism is purified by willpower. And then our purification creates integrity. Integrity means that these three energies, simultaneously and in the same dosage, are circulating throughout our three bodies and fusing them together, transforming, transmuting them together, and eventually through these three energies and their circulation, something exceptional is happening. You are born anew. Something is born in you. Your spirit is coming into existence. Now you exist. Before you did not. And this is so beautiful. So you worked for 50 years. What did you do? Well, I talked a lot about love. Where is the result of your love? Do you tell everyone that there is a lot of love in the world? Well, where is the result? Do you see it in your family, in your church, in politics, in the stock market? Light creates civilizations, and love creates cultures. If you read the history of humanity, you're going to see that great cultures came at the moment of history when the love, wisdom, energy hit certain nations and opened their heart centers, and the culture came in. Culture is a synthesis of the best books, the best arts, the best music, the best religions. All things came into existence from the heart center of humanity, the culture of nations. Until your heart center opens and has a chance to proceed from the etheric plane into the astral and mental and higher, you're going to be a cocoon in the etheric plane after you die. I don't want to hurt your sensitivities, but these things need to be said. So what does willpower do? Willpower, when it comes, immediately puts our physical, emotional, and mental mechanisms into order. This means that we synchronize our physical, emotional, and mental activities with the plan of the hierarchy. The center. What is the hierarchy? The center where the will of God is known. Just as simple as that. Now our existence has value. We are conscious. We know where we came from. We know where we are going and how we are going. So the will energy synthesizes, creates units, and shows them the destination, and it integrates our whole beingness. Actually, when the ray of willpower starts to work, the involutionary tendencies of your body turn toward evolution. The entities which are forming your physical, emotional, mental bodies, who are by nature involutionary, separative, and materialistic, turn to the path of evolution. So light brings a lot of information into our mind. Love teaches us how to use this information so that we can create a decent world. And willpower creates a beingness in us. We not only know, we not only act and lecture and write, but we become something. Your beingness is related to your willpower. Until the willpower comes, all of your plans are hypocritical. What I mean is that you cannot actualize them yet. Willpower actualizes your visions. Now you're a person who actualizes your dreams, and this is creativity. So creativity, and I'm wrapping this up now, creativity is a dynamic power which, one, expands your consciousness. Creativity is a dynamic power which expands your consciousness, cleans crystallizations and fanaticism, and two, also expands the field of your service. So try to be creative in your field. Bring new light, new love, new purpose into your field. But dedicate all the results to the service of the Lord. So that's how you can answer, am I a creative person? Thank you.